Hello and welcome to another episode of Woodward's Watercolours. Well, today in response to a question from one of you in watching my video on Derwent Inktense watercolour pencils, I think it was the first one that I did, I was asked would I consider doing something that would be more for beginners, and I was thinking, well, yeah, I would love to do that. And how do you start? So what we're going to do today is we're taking one single Derwent Inktense watercolour pencil and we're going to draw with it, and what it's going to do in using a single colour is it's going to let us explore the medium, play about with it, get familiar with it, and hopefully begin to have a love for it. So come on with me and we're going to explore a beginner's guide to using a Derwent Inktense watercolour pencil. Okay, so here we have some A5, this is cotton watercolour paper. It's cold pressed. I think it's a little bit more of a thinner paper than I would normally use. It's about 220 GSM. The watercolour, the Derwent Inktense watercolour pencil we have is Indian ink. Now, I bought this just as a single. It was about £2.20, I think, maybe would go between about £2 to £3. And I really love drawing with Indian ink. And I thought, well, we'll give it a go with this and see how it goes. So what I'm suggesting is if this is something that you would like to try, then just try it with one colour initially. So the brush that I have is the 3/4 flat shader, and it's from the dealer Rowney Simply range there, about £4 or £5. And the flat brush gives us lots of options in terms of strength of line, the amount of water we apply, all sorts of different things. And you all know, if you've ever seen any of my videos, that I absolutely love flat brushes. So we're going to use that when we get to that stage. So first of all, what I want to do is I take my little Faber-Castell sharpener and carefully open it so that any of the sharpenings that are already there don't go everywhere. So it won't go into the graphite one, but it'll go into the jumbo, and then I'm just going to give it a couple of twists. Now, with this sharpener, it is exceptional, and I think it's about £4 or £5 and just really wonderful. What I want to suggest is if you're a beginner, then one of the things that's really helpful is continuous line. And what it means is, continuous line is you simply put the pencil down and you just start moving it along. And basically the premise is that you don't take it off. Now I'm going to lean here. Oh, there it breaks. Now they're kind of soft. Glad that happened, because it happens. And it's good to show that that happens sometimes. So we're going to give in some of the details. Now I've got this kind of crumply line now because of the way the pencil is. So I tend to turn the pencil round a bit as I'm doing these drawings. And we're going to get in some of these the strongest lines. So you've got, I don't want to take the pencil off since I'm demoing continuous line, but let's get in the strong kind of lines of this. And we've got some of the tree, a couple of the tree trunks are kind of shown here in this little picture. Now this little picture I've printed off on my Kodak little printer, which I have found really, really helpful. It's been a real addition. Now the other thing that I want to do is get some of these lines in to give you the idea of this. I think they're like evergreens, those kind of, I don't know what type of tree they are. Somebody will be able to write in and tell me. I was going to say it's almost sort of like a fern, like, you know, almost like that Christmas tree kind of quality. And then just taking this line here, just trying to find the edge in this now that it broke on me like that. So do take comfort if it breaks on you. It happens to the best of us. Just in this line down where it's kind of coming down into this valley. This is the area here where there is actually, I'm trying to find where the pen is. I'm actually glad this has happened in this video, because these things happen all the time. Sometimes I think videos can be so polished that they miss reality, that all, you know, none of us are immune to these types of things happening. Okay, so the other thing about when you use the Derwent Inktense is you're able to lift some of the pigment that's down and add it into certain areas. So just going to add in just little bits of bushes. Let me get that little crumpled bit blown away there. And in the path then we've got just some little marks. Now this is going to be nice and quick. It's a nice short video. It's a nice sort of entry level thing that you can do. That's a really dark point there. Just noticing some of the darker bits in this picture down to some of these areas here. Now the line is much chunkier than I had wanted. There was me sharpening it to try and get some sort of like sharper lines, and they're gone because of what happened to my pencil. Okay, and then let's get some more sort of stronger horizontal kind of lines. It's actually a little bit sharper. So I haven't lifted it off the page yet. This is true continuous line. Just putting in some darker bits there. Okay, now we could do the sky. Don't really need to do the sky, so I'm kind of reluctant, but I will just add in a couple of lines of some sort of rocks and things here. Just give a little bit of a harsher outline to this bit, and then we'll maybe just add a little bit of detail there. Okay, let's stop there. So what I want to do then in experimenting is I need to figure out how this thing works. Now, obviously I've used this before, but this is where, for me, it feels like the magic happens. So I'm taking my brush, and because it's a flat brush, it gives me lots and lots of options. So basically then, as you can see, look at the pigment. It's just being released just with that water. And the controversy really about these pencils is because they are ink based, then you know, some people struggle to call them watercolor pencils. My definition of a watercolor pencil is that it takes water to release the pigment, whatever that pigment may be. The thing that I can do then is, because it's such a strong pigment, I can splatter quite nicely here as well. So let me take the corner of the flat edge brush. Notice how I'm changing the brush around as well, just as I'm going, because it's going to give me different qualities of line. Now, probably best evidenced, or evidenced, not evidented, I'm making up words now. Evidenced here in this section, where I can just give the tops of the trees and just agitating it a little bit more in some of those areas. Okay, now, some of these sections here then. So I'm really just taking some of the pigment, agitating it a little bit more in some areas than in others. Just notice that my friend is in this picture, and I don't tend to add people into landscapes, so he's going to remain out of it. You could add him in if you were using this scene. And just taking, so this is where there's this river, and so we're just going to sweep across there, down to this scene here. Now there's lots of pebbles. I don't think there was much of a river running at that point, but I can just lift. So the less water that I have on, obviously the more accurate that's going to be. So I can just lift little bits of pigment and just dot it along in that area, which is real. This is one of the things I absolutely love about these pencils, is the sheer amount of pigment that, or the strength, the Inktense. Great play on words, Derwent. Just the sheer amount of ink and pigment that's released whenever you do that. It's just wonderful. Okay, so just moving this across here. I've got this little bit where the lines are kind of meeting. I'm going to nick some of the pigment from this section here, which is another bit that I love. I can lift some of this, drop it over here to intensify that. And then this is where, so I don't really want to highlight this too much, but I do want to give a little bit of definition. So actually let me, I have squeegeed off the water, and I'm going to lift a little bit. The brush then becomes like a hoover, just sort of sucking up what was there. I just want to give a little indication of that there is some sort of a path here. I want very little water on this, but just drag that down. So let's just loosen that up a wee bit. So the pencil lines are just really kind of giving that little bit of information there. So I feel that little bit's not as successful, but certainly this area, and just, can you see, isn't it just wonderful how such a simple drawing, and we had that mishap there where the nib, the sharp nib that I had sharpened broke on me. And then what I would do let me just put in, this is the Mourne Mountains and this is Sleeve Donard. So for me then, when I'm finishing off a watercolour, then I just add in the name of the place. Yeah. So the Mourne Mountains, if you've ever had the privilege of getting to walk in them, they are absolutely beautiful. Well, we tend to call them colloquially the Mournes, so that's what we're going to call them today. If I can find the N, we're nearly there. So the heart of this message was to just really show how easy it is to use these. The pencils are very, very simple, but if you've never used them before, then taking a single colour and just doing a single colour study is just a really nice way to get a feel for them. And there's something that's taken roughly about 10 minutes, done with a continuous line, one colour and just one brush. And there's a scene of the Mournes. So there you are, one pencil and one brush and a bit of paper and a little bit of water. And that's what I would suggest is the best way as a beginner to just get a feel for how these work. With all artistic media, you're trying to get a feel as to how you use them. So you're not going to use them the way that I use them, but there are certain principles to abide by when you're trying something for the first time. And the first principle is just jump in and play and experiment. One of the most profound things that you can do is to hold off the thought, what if I feel the fear of failure? Just don't go anywhere near it. Just experiment. I mean, look at me. I'm demonstrating this on a YouTube video. I sharpened the pencil and probably it wasn't even maybe 20 seconds in, the nib that I had sharpened had broken. But isn't that how it goes? Just play. Keep it really, really simple initially. Now, I love using my larger packs of, like, I probably have about maybe 35 Derwent Inktense pencils of different colours. But to be able to use one is really a great place to start. And also I would do that quite regularly as well. I find those ways of doing it really, really simple and really, really effective. So why not give it a go? I know that maybe you don't want to commit and jump in and buy a whole big pack, but you can buy one pencil. And these are unique. I find the Derwent Inktense are absolutely unique among those, let's call them those pencils where the colour is more intensely released by adding water. So go and jump in and have a go. I hope that you find this helpful. For more information about me, a portfolio of my work, information about private tuition, Toby and I are about to go off on a weekend to Bath with 16 other sketchers in a couple of weeks' time, so that'll be exciting. You can find information about those weekends and lots of other things, including commissions, and a link to my Etsy store if you like what I'm doing and you would like to have one hang on your wall, then you can find a link there. Go to www.woodwardswatercolours.co.uk and you'll find all that information there. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the little bell notification and you'll be notified when new videos are dropping onto YouTube. But as always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and do let me know what you've thought of this video. Love reading your comments and love responding. But that's it from me for this episode. Bye for now. See you sometime soon.